But moving on to the next story, sticking with sports. So there was a kind of a weird suspension that happened in the Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles organization, where an announcer was suspended for talking about the struggles of the Baltimore Orioles team against the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, it wasn't as if this gentleman was working alone in this whole situation. And it wasn't as if this man wasn't just doing his job, to be perfectly honest. And I don't think he said anything wrong, but Kevin Brown, who was an announcer for the Baltimore Orioles, is suspended for pointing out the team has not done well the past 6 years against the Tampa Bay Rays. And from what the team said is that they suspended him because he made the club sound cheap. And that, he actually, it makes no sense. But there was a graphic on the screen when he was doing the announcing saying that they were in this past 16 series, that they were 15-1 in the series, and they haven't done well in Tropicana Field at all for the past 6 years. Like, he was just doing his job, and he was saying that they were up in this series and they were trying to turn the tide on what was happening for the past 6 years. Now, D-Lo, is this the silliest shit you ever heard in your life, or what, bro?
The worst decision, the silliest decision. And if I was him, I would no longer want to work for the Baltimore Orioles a day in my life. You suspend me for giving the fans an overall perspective of the performance of the Baltimore Orioles. Not only was he pointing out that they struggled in the past, he also was pointing out that the Orioles are starting to turn the corner as a ball club this year. So, and like you mentioned, he wasn't the only one that was in on the whole. I say in on like it's a bad thing, but he wasn't the only one that presented this information. Like you said, it was a whole graphic and everything, but he was the only one that was suspended. So for the Baltimore Orioles to try to sweep this under the rug and keep their struggles in the past, which everybody knows the Orioles. I don't watch a lot of baseball, so I don't know per se. But if you look at records, which dictate if you're a good ball club or not, if you look at the records, the Orioles haven't been a good ball club for quite some time. I want to say since Cal Ripken was playing, but that'd be way, way too far.
They haven't won a series since. So
they haven't been a good baseball team for quite some time. So for them to suspend him for this, as if he's not supposed to give the whole perspective of the Baltimore Orioles is crazy to me. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I think it's like I said, I think it's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life, dude. Like, they literally haven't won a World Series since 1983. And they haven't
playoffs.
From what I'm seeing right now, that it says they haven't won. They've been in the playoffs a few times, from what I can remember. Because I back whenever I used to actually watch baseball games, because I'm a Braves fan myself. But back whenever I used to actually watch baseball games, I mean, I would see that they would go to the playoffs because they're in the same National League as the Braves are. But they just haven't had a lot of playoff success and World Series success. Aren't they not? No, you're right, because the Rays, they're in the American League. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But they of course this they play some interleague games as well. So I would see the Baltimore Orioles play the Braves every once in a while. But they haven't won a series in 40 years. It's literally been 1983 since they won a series. And like you said, Kevin Brown, he was, letting people know that, hey, they're actually turning the tide. They're becoming a better ball club. The Rays have been in their way, but they're actually doing a good job against them this year. They're turning the tide. They've been doing a really good job. But over the past 6 years, they ain't been doing well. That's not a reason to suspend somebody for literally doing your job. And that's not a reason to. And the fact that your organization was behind him and helping him with this graphic, that should tell you something from there. Like, he had a whole graphic on the screen showing that they've been having struggles against this particular team that they just can't get over the hump against. And as of right now, they're trying to do that. So it's like, what else do you want this man to do? He's honestly just doing his job. And he did a really good job of kind of like, cutting the tension online and just saying, hey, this is my second home. For the Orioles fans, I'm a storyteller, and I was just telling a story. And, he never wanted to be part of the story. He was just giving a compelling story about how the ball club is coming along and they just need to get over this hump against this one team. And I was telling you the background of the story against this one team. Now, is that a reason for the organization to fire him? Hell no. It just makes no sense how organizations. I guess I want to call it a digital footprint, but it's not that. But it's just like your profile is more important than your employees. Mm-hmm. But he didn't give any bad information, and it wasn't like he was talking shit. He was just like, we're getting over the hump, and this team beating this team in this series this year will show that they're progressing as a ball club. But it's not anything wrong that he did to me. Period.
They got their feelings hurt, and it wasn't like in his storytelling in the segment that he did about the struggles that they have against the Rays that he said any type of racial slur. He didn't say anything out of character. He didn't cuss online or anything like that. He wasn't wearing anything that said anything negative about any particular group or anything like that. He was just giving the facts of what the Baltimore Orioles have done against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And if that hurts you as a owner, as the people that sit above him and all the players in the organization, then maybe you shouldn't be in the business of professional sports because you have to tell the truth. I mean, everybody talks about the Los Angeles Clippers or how they used to be. The Clippers used to be the worst team in the league. And the last 5 or so years, maybe more than that, they've been a way better ball club. But in order to tell the story of the Clippers that are now, you have to tell the stories of what they used to be when they were younger or when they were, back in the day. So this is just lunacy to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't fathom that somebody would fire me or not even fire, he's suspended. So they suspended him. Somebody would suspend me for doing my job. If a customer comes to me and wants to know the whole perspective of a certain thing, of course, I'm going to paint a picture of this is the greatest product ever, but I'm going to tell you the limitations of it as well. And that's all he was doing.
That's all he was doing, period, man. And just to, make another kind of, just to give you another example of what you just said, same thing with the Cavs, and I know we find a way to get this man in the show every single week. But before LeBron got to the to the Cavs, they were the sorriest team in the league, and he brought them by himself to the playoffs. Left, got crucified for it, came back and won a championship. So like you gotta tell the story of the growth of an organization or the growth of a product or the growth of anything, because before you can actually sell it, you got to say, hey, this is where it came from, this is where it's at now, and this is where we project to be. You got to tell the story. So like that's all.
People love the story.
Man, free Kevin Brown, man. I'm you know what I'm saying? Free Kevin Brown, dog. Like, free my dog, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, free Kevin Brown, because he ain't do nothing wrong, man. Like D-Lo said, it's lunacy, man. It is definitely insanity, because there's no way that you can really just, if y'all saw the video, and I'll put a link to the video in the description below. If y'all go watch this video and y'all can tell me that he did something wrong, then you know what I'm saying, I'll throw my hands up. But there's nothing that man did wrong. And y'all go watch that video. I'll put it in the description in the description below. Y'all let me know. Y'all give us y'all comments on this situation, man.
Man, we probably should bet on how much time he's gonna serve for this. But
as of right now, he's been suspended since August 11, and there's no timeline as to when he's gonna come back. So as of right now, he's been suspended for the past week. So we'll see. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far and you like what you see, there's a video on the screen right here. I think you might like this one as well. And also, you can find us on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.